Greetings and welcome to another episode of Pop's Collection. I'm Ron Tweedy, joining me is Pops, and today we're going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hello everybody, how's it going? This is a first for us, part of my comic book collection, but it falls into one of those categories where it was not a comic book first.
Right.
Are you familiar with the history of it?
Yeah, pretty well versed in it.
Yeah, okay, well, you have anything you'd like to share or...
Well, no, only that, Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most beloved franchises of video game history. So obviously that's where it gets its origins, from the company known as Sega, formerly Service Games, and a couple other things along the way. Very interesting history for a company that was founded just after World War II. And, originally them getting in the coin-op business and finally end up making video games. Brings us to the early 90s, where they're having a console that wants to compete with the Nintendo Entertainment System. Particularly on the American market, they have a little bit more traction, and so they released what they call the Sega Genesis. Here, they call it the Mega Drive in Japan. And a couple folks were trying to create a character-based game that would have a similar appeal as to Mario does for Nintendo. And so that's where Sonic came about, and from there he's been through multiple different iterations, whether it's comic books like we just mentioned, or cartoons, or TV shows, whether they're CG animated or traditionally hand-drawn animated, and lots of different things, lots of different takes on Sonic. And that brings us to couple years ago where they released a feature-length film around the character. So is that a pretty good summary?
It is. One thing you didn't mention is that they actually came up with 7 novels that they produced.
Okay.
And from 93 to 96, and then they had 6 more novels that they did in the 2000s with Sonic X.
Okay.
So, I thought it interesting that, the game came out in June of 91.
Yes.
In the US.
Yep.
And it, in 92, they had Archie Comics. They had, manga also in 92. So yeah, they not only flooded the Japanese market, but also the US with Archie's comics. And like you said, various different ones. I'm not real familiar. I don't ever remember. Did you ever have a Sega?
No, not growing up.
Nope.
So yeah, we were definitely a Nintendo family. Before that, we had an Atari 2600, which you had before I was around, I think.
Yes.
But through that, we were definitely a Nintendo family all the way up to the year 1999, where I bought my first and last Sega Genesis console, or Sega console, which was the Dreamcast, which was the last console that they made. I was finally on board with Sega, and I wanted to give them a chance, and they ended up completely, going to a software developer after that. So, maybe. I think the Dreamcast gets a bad rap. It's actually a really interesting game system. Growing up in the 90s as a, preteen / teenager, there were lots of schoolyard arguments and fights about who was better, Nintendo or Sega. And I can readily admit that I definitely was a Nintendo fanboy. Still love Nintendo. But as I have matured over the years, I have developed a great appreciation for what Sega did, both with the Sega Genesis even before that in the arcades, and even the Master System has some little gems on it. So anyway.
So did you play the Sonic game?
Well, yeah, my best friend down the street had a Sega Genesis. He was a Sega kid, and so obviously we had the best of both worlds. So we played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog growing up, whether it's the first one or the second one. Those are the ones we played the most. And I have a lot, and the third one as well. It's very good. To me, the Sonic games were really something special on that console. When it comes to, I could get into a little bit of the technical side of things. To me, the big thing was the sound chip difference. The Super NES has a sound chip that uses digital signal processing versus Genesis has FM synthesis. And if you're not really adverse at using that FM synthesis sound chip, you can make the game sound really bad. Sonic was a exception to this. I mean, all the Sonic music and graphics were just, it was quintessential 90s. It takes you to a place, and you see it in the end credits of this film. Just kind of throwback to that, you know, very colorful, bright, and the music and everything. It was just like perfect distillment of what Sega was at the time. And yeah.
Right. And I think that, like you said, at the end of the movie, we got all that for the roll credits part, but it was just like an homage to the game. It really wasn't the game itself.
No, of course
because
not.
We got versions of Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik,
right.
you know?
Right.
Which I have to say, you know, we did get a few experienced comic book actors in this particular film.
Yeah, that's right.
And the voice of Sonic, you know who that, Ben Schwartz, you know who that is, right? Or maybe,
well, he's from,
you know, he was on that show Space Force.
Oh, okay. I know him from Parks and Rec. He was John Ralphio.
And he was on, yes, that's right, Parks and Recs too. But his voice, I tried to like, he sounded a little different. I think he was trying, I don't know, maybe he just made his voice a little higher or something, but it was like, I know that's Ben Schwartz, but it doesn't sound like him, you know?
Yeah, and, you know, there is precedent for that. We had Jaleel White play Sonic in 2 cartoons, and so, you know, he definitely played it up a little bit, too, in a higher register when he did his particular version of it, so.
Right, so it's like you say, not unprecedented, but I was so, like, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I really, we had James Marston,
right.
James Marston.
Right.
Cyclops, right?
Yep, that's right.
And even Neil McDonough, he didn't have a very large part, but he was in Captain America. He was a villain in the Arrowverse.
Okay.
Will McDonough, he had the red mustache and the bowler hat.
Yes, that's right. Okay.
I forget the character's name.
Dum Dugan. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he also played Damien Dark in the Arrowverse.
Okay.
So I mean, he's had experience in, and of course Jim Carrey, the Riddler.
Yeah.
Which we just did recently.
Right.
And I have to say, I preferred his portrayal of Dr. Robotnik much better than his Riddler performance.
Okay.
Although it wasn't that bad, but I definitely enjoyed him more in this. I don't know if it was the style of the way the story was being told.
I think so, yeah.
You know, because
and the writing is way sharper in this film than it is in Batman Forever.
No question about that. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we had a good cast through the whole thing, mostly.
Oh, yeah.
Good story.
Uh-huh.
I really thought the way that they intertwined the CG and reality together was done really, really well.
Uh-huh.
And your mom could not stop laughing through most of the film. She thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a lot better than it should be, I think. You know, when you think about particularly movies that are based on video games, they get a bad rap a lot. They don't, most of the time they're not done very well. This one is really good. I'm shocked. Like, you know, we saw it when it first came out in the theaters, took the kids to go see it. And I remember it being fine, but I don't remember a whole lot else about it. And then I went back and watching it. I was like, oh, yeah, this actually is really good.
It is. Yes. And another couple of ones that we could put in the same class would be Warcraft,
Yep.
and also Halo.
Yep.
There are actually quite a few different Halo movies and different types,
Yeah.
different styles of
Yeah.
movies
Yeah.
that I somehow would like to do some of those, but I don't know if we'll be able to get into them, because they're hard to get on regular TV or where you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, I think.
I own them because it's part of my collection, but
Yeah, and I think that there's a new series coming out on Paramount Plus for Halo, if I remember
yes,
correctly.
there is.
So
Yes.
anyway,
Well, you never know, but I'm not going to pay for Paramount Plus. Sorry.
no, no, they're not going to get a red cent till they fix Star Trek, if you ask me.
And I don't know if that's going to happen.
No.
I do have the animated series, and I own all of the Star Trek movies, and I know that I own the three
Yeah.
of the recent trilogy.
Yeah.
But as far as any of the TV series, I would love to own maybe. I know you prefer Deep Space Nine, but I'm kind of more of a next gen guy,
Oh, I love
or
Next Gen too.
original.
I do love
Yeah.
Next Gen. So
And the original series, of course, you can't go wrong with that either. Although,
agreed.
for the time.
Yeah.
But so maybe if we get a chance, Halo is another one that's interesting.
I agree.
Um, so yes, quite a few. And there were also, although there's not a movie, I think maybe we might think about doing a list show for video games that we'd like to see as
Okay.
a movie.
Yeah. Okay. I'll. Yeah.
How does that sound?
That sounds like you just picked a topic for our next episode.
Yeah, very good. I mean, it just
Yeah.
flipped right off my tongue there.
All right.
So
Cool. Cool.
that's something to think about.
Yeah.
But let's get into this for a minute. I'm not being much of a video game player other than Atari.
Right.
I wasn't familiar with this Sonic origin. Is this something that they created specifically for this movie, or is this a typical origin story that he came from another planet? Are you aware of any of that?
So here's the thing about Sonic lore is that it's about as complex as like Star Wars expanded universe, right? It's that level because you have several comic series going concurrently. You have cartoon series, you have stuff like that. So I if you're looking at just the first game, there's not a whole lot of that. That much of an origin story. It's Robotnik, taking Sonic's friends, like creature friends, putting them in robots, and Sonic traversing the different zones and freeing them, and that's pretty much the whole plot of the first Sonic game. But it gets a lot more complex once you start getting into the cartoons, and depending on which cartoon, and then the comics, that some of them follow some of the cartoons and some of them are their own thing, and so it gets complex. And then you have some really weird ones like what they call Sonic 06, which was released in 2006. That one's really weird. Sonic has like a almost a romantic relationship with a human princess. Really strange. Yeah, so it just depends. It's really weird. So
I gotcha. Yeah, well, because I know some of the cartoon series, they went to a darker side.
Yep.
And Sonic and his friends were freedom fighters.
Right.
And Robotnik was in charge of Eggland or whatever. But so yeah, I could see that. But I was just especially about the rings in this movie, how he could take the rings and go anywhere else he wanted.
Yeah, there is precedent for that. Like the first one, in the game, if you get 50 or more rings, when you beat the stage, there's a giant ring at the end. If you jump through that ring, you get teleported to the special stage. So there's precedent for rings taking you to another place, a giant ring at least. So
okay,
yeah,
all right, okay. Well, see, Well, then I'm going to have to say the way that that was written into the script
Yeah,
was perfect. It was
yeah,
really good.
yeah. That's well done.
Yes. And like I was talking about Jim Carrey's performance,
Yeah,
I thoroughly loved when he was in his vehicle
yeah,
and he puts on the music and
right.
he's got the blue thing and he's like
Yeah, yeah,
skiing
yeah,
and he like gets his head bit off by
yeah,
a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That was just,
yeah,
your mother could not stop laughing.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it was really good.
yeah.
And interesting story that the his wife sister is constantly wanting her to divorce her husband,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know.
really get that. She's pretty insufferable. I don't really, and unfortunately, she's going to be in the sequel, so that's too bad. But other
Oh,
than that,
really?
yeah,
Wow. Well, I think they treated her very right by tying her up and
yeah,
leaving her
yeah, yeah,
there,
yeah. That
and
was
even her
funny.
daughter doing that.
Yeah,
That was great.
yeah,
I love that he was the donut lord.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, it all just worked out good. Pretzel lady, donut lord. It was a thoroughly enjoyable story. I'm going to say to anybody out there that listens to our shows, this is the kind of movie that really, this was the best show after having to go through Batman and Robin and Batman Forever.
oh yeah,
So,
yeah. That's a great palate cleanser. You're right. Yep.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a good thing, I'm telling you. Uh, is there, I thought too, the scenes in the bar, and yeah, I'm guessing you have to really be uh, a good actor to have to be able. I wonder how long that it took them
Mm-hmm.
to do those scenes where you had the CG Sonic interacting with live actors, you know, because that was really a tough thing in the bar scene.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they did it here. I know with the Marvel movies, when you have a CG character, you have the actual actor most times there, and they wear like a mocap suit, and so basically they're really are interacting with someone else, or just in the movie it just looks different. So like for instance, when Mark Ruffalo is Hulk, he'll he'll be on set. He'll be wearing the a mocap suit, and then you'll have Hulk head like extended above him because Hulk's so tall. So
Right.
they'll do that. So I would assume that they did something similar to accommodate to acting against Sonic when it comes to James Marsden or Jim Carrey or whomever.
Right. Well, or like I said, in the bar, there were a lot of different
Yeah.
people that
Right.
had interaction with Sonic.
Right.
And I do have to say, shades of X-Men, Days of Future Past, Quicksilver.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
I love that part. And as soon as I saw it, I thought of that.
Yeah.
And then I tried to decide which one did I like better.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I think but the Sonic one was definitely much more comic relief
Oh yeah.
than the Quicksilver
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah.
but which I guess made this one a little bit more entertaining,
Yeah. That's fair.
I guess. But good story. I like the robots. I like Jim Carrey's character. Definitely, if you can see it for free, go for it. To me, it'd be worth a buy,
Yeah. Sure.
on Blu-ray or DVD if you
Right.
so desired. But
Yeah. And it's family friendly too, so you could take all the kids to go see it, and it's pretty much good to go.
right. And are you going to go see Sonic 2 with kids?
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's coming out pretty shortly.
yeah, a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I actually thought about this show when I saw an advertisement for Sonic 2. So I said, hey,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that you bought it
Yeah.
because it's one of those shows that, you not really sure. But anyways, I thought definitely a good movie.
Yep.
So any things that stood out to you that you feel inclined to discuss?
Sure. Yeah. I'm gonna borrow something that I learned in a writing class that I took a little while ago, and talk about characters in this film and their controlling lies, because really it is a kind of a really good text case for these things. And so, the I'm gonna I've learned all this from Jason Farley, so credit where credit's due. But you have characters and you want to tell a story about their character's journey. You're going to do it with a character and they have a controlling lie, and then that lie kind of gets put to the test, and they come out of it either stronger, or the world comes out stronger for what ends up happening. And so, I think you could look at it from both Tom's character. He has a controlling line. Sonic does as well. And you can even make the case that Dr. Eggman does too. But we'll focus on that too much. But I think that Tom's controlling lie is that I have to, in order for me to have meaning, I have to have some sort of significance. And that means that I have to leave this podunk town and, go to the big city in order to actually have significance. And so, that really ends up being put to the test, because then he meets this, creature from who knows where, and he ends up being significant, even though he's in Green Hills, wherever, South Dakota or wherever they're at. And he has to go all the way to San Francisco to realize that, hey, I have just as much purpose in Green Hills than I do if I were in San Francisco. And so I think that is kind of his character arc for the film. Sonic, contrastly, his controlling lie is that it is better to be safe than to be known. And so what we have in the beginning is he thinks he has these relationships with people, whether it's Donut Lord or Pretzel Lady, and movie night with them, watching Speed with Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
And having all that go on. And he feels, because of what his I guess Mama Bird, the owl, told him,
The
that
owl, yes.
he needs to be safe. And we find out that because of those circumstances and what happens, he ends up being known, and it's better to be known than to be safe. And so he learns that throughout the film. So I think those are the two character arcs that really make the story worthwhile.
Well, yes. Now I'm going to ask you a question about the origin of Sonic. In this one, he's coming from another planet, but do we ever know the name of the planet, or is there ever one of those in any of the video games?
Not in the video games that I'm aware of. I want to say the planet's called Mobius in one of the early cartoons. So with the Saturday morning Sonic, yeah.
All right, so there is some
yeah
president for another planet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, so don't you think though that Tom's his idea of his significance is that he wants to help somebody, or rescue somebody, or save somebody.
Exactly.
And he doesn't feel like that he can do that in their little town.
Right, exactly. There's not enough excitement for it to happen, which could save somebody's life. And so, that's get mentioned over and over again. Like Sonic's like, hey, you need to save my life, or whatever. You saved my life. So
yes, which I love how they developed that by him setting a speed trap.
Yeah.
And then, the turtle.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, slow down, less than 1 mile an hour, whatever.
Right.
That was hilarious. And then Sonic carrying the turtle, and you see in its mouth.
Yeah.
There was a really, really a lot of good work done in that.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, their budget was like $90 million.
That surprises me it's that low.
And this is interesting, I think, too. You'll find out.
Okay.
It came out during COVID. So it only opened
just after or just around COVID, right? Because
right
we
just around
went
COVID.
to the
So
theater to see it.
it all yes, but it only opened
Yeah,
in like 4,100 theaters,
yeah,
and it made over $320 million worldwide.
yep,
And its opening
yep,
release date in the U.S. was February 14th, Valentine's Day,
right.
but it didn't open in Japan until June
Uh huh.
because of COVID.
Interesting.
So because of all that, uh, and the limited number of theaters for it to make that much money,
Yeah.
and because of the COVID thing, it came out earlier release on DVD and Blu-ray,
Uh huh.
and sold over 2 million copies.
Yeah.
Like the first couple of weeks, made over $40 million in
Yep.
revenue. It's incredible. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think part of the story around that to me, like I was saying, I was shocked that the budget was that low, was because originally when they released the first trailer, um, they did not get a good reaction. Um, the design of Sonic was way different than what we got in the film, and it was completely like on the internet. It was like completely lambasted for a long time. So they delayed the release of the film in order to
yes.
fix it. And
Oh yes.
they listened to the fans. They fixed it
3 times they did that. Three
yeah.
times.
So the fact is like this is an example of when you listen to the fan base, you get you really drive success. If you listen to your customer. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And maybe I know that would be a good thing to determine or find out why the budget was what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if the people that originally did the Sonic, where it got
Yeah.
lambasted, and now I guess it's memed too, quite a lot. I wonder if they
Yeah.
got the second version and the third version
Yeah.
at like no charge or at a discounted rate.
I don't know. But
Yeah,
but I think the final product does it is really good, and I did appreciate the self-awareness of the film with Crazy Carl with the Blue Devil, his drawing of the Blue Devil. That's a
yes,
very popular Sonic meme about how to draw Sonic, and I'll probably insert it here somewhere. But it's good.
Oh, that would be great. I would love that. That would be awesome. Yes, and what do you think of Carrie's transformation at the end?
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think he was definitely more Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah.
With the second incarnation than the first,
Yeah. And it was at going to the movie theater with theater full with a whole mess of kids in there, and the post-credit sequence where Tails shows up and the kids just going nuts. That was that was really fun to experience that.
Yes. Yeah. Now Tails is not in the first video game, right? Is she in the second one, or
he's in the second one? Yeah, he starts the second one.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, really? It's a he. Well, it sounded like a girl.
Well, he's like a child essentially. His name's Miles Tails Prower.
Oh, okay.
That's his full name. I know his full name.
Again, we were a Nintendo family, so I didn't know anything about Sega. So, wow. Well, very interesting stuff we had here to talk about.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I think maybe we should think about a rating.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And would you, as know more about Sega than me, if you'd like to go first, I'll
that's fine.
allow you.
Sure. I'd give it an 8. It's really good. The only knocks I really have against it, obviously the first one is the sister-in-law who's insufferable. I like less of her. And then the other thing is the score. I think was a missed opportunity. They really could have used more of the game soundtracks and incorporated that into the score. There was a little nod to it at the very end with there was a piano playing the Green Hill Zone theme while they're kind of, rebuilding the house and everything. But I would have loved to have had more of things like that where I could have recognized the different things from the different games brought in there. But other than that, still a fantastic movie. The writing was great. The acting was great. The CG was great. 8 for me.
Okay. Well, I am going to actually agree with you about that. 8. For me, the downplay was only getting a gift card to Olive Garden.
Yeah. The advertisements in here were pretty blatant. So you had Olive Garden, then you had the Toyota kind of play a lot for the truck. So
yes, I know. I mean, like, so in your face, but yes, definitely. Like I said before, it's worth a known.
Oh yeah,
definitely, to have in your house.
No doubt.
It's one that you can see many times over. If you're ever feeling down, or a little depressed, just put Sonic in and it'll lift you right up.
Yeah,
definitely.
Totally.
All right, so 5 video games that you'd like to see as a movie. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great.
For our top 5 next week.
Yeah, okay.
All right, good.
All right.
Excellent.
All right, great. Well, thank you all for tuning in this week. If feel free to follow us on social media, leave us a comment somewhere, and let us know what did you think about Sonic. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye. God bless.
Goodbye. God bless. And you think about your video games you want to be a movie. Thank you.